Dylan Mulvaney recently spoke at Penn State, and nobody showed up. Half-empty auditorium. Wow. That's an understatement. When you actually pull up the photos, you can see it's like probably 70 to 80% empty. Nobody showed up. I'll tell you why. Dylan Mulvaney is not popular. Dylan Mulvaney is not influential. Dylan Mulvaney is not prominent. This is exemplified by Bud Light sales continuing to decline. They've not recovered. Even after everything Bud Light's done, they've not recovered. And the issue is the amount of people who follow Dylan Mulvaney, it's likely not a legitimate influence. It's likely algorithmic. And many of them, I believe, hate Dylan Mulvaney. And that's why I want to talk to you about this individual. A lot of people on the left will say like, oh, you're obsessed and things like this with someone who has got 12 million followers. But I think what we're looking at is a warning to the American people and to parents about what these machines will do. I want you to see this from scnr.com scanner. Al Gore says social media algorithms are the digital equivalent of AR-15s and should be banned. They ought to be banned. They really ought to be banned. He's right. He's completely right. What we're looking at with Dylan Mulvaney is the story of an individual desperate for attention, and the machine plugged Dylan Mulvaney in. That's it. Then you got sideshow gawkers, carnival goers, who wanted to egg on an individual who was influenceable and suffering, and that's what they did. Recently, Dylan Mulvaney had a mental breakdown on TikTok, saying that they're just crying all the time and they don't know why. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you're depressed, you're being targeted, attacked, and made to suffer. I don't believe Dylan Mulvaney is trans. I believe Dylan Mulvaney is getting surgeries that make Dylan Mulvaney fit a cast or a character. Celebrities do it all the time. Why would a celebrity get butt implants? Because they want to fit a role. Why would Dylan Mulvaney undergo facial surgery or hormones? For the exact same reason, to fit a role. What we're seeing now is proof. Dylan Mulvaney speaking at Penn, and the room's empty. They said it's half. No, it's not half empty. Half empty is just a vague generalization. It's more than that. You take a look at this photo, and you can tell. I'll try and even be nice. 60% empty? It's more than half. It looks to be about 80%. There's very few people sitting up front. How's that possible? Dylan Mulvaney has 12 million followers. Okay, my friends, that's one platform. One platform. Let me break something down for you. On Twitter, I have about 1.9 million followers. On this YouTube channel, it's like 1.2. Timcast IRL is 1.6. The Timcast original channel is 1.32, which now is mostly clips from the culture war. And so you could argue across the board with Instagram and everything else and Facebook. Tim Pool, let's see, we've got 2, we've got 5, we've got 6, 7. Wow, 7 million followers. But let's be real, there's overlap. How many people subscribed and followed on every platform? Okay, so it's not absolute. Obviously, if I've got 1.6 on Timcast IRL, but 1.2 here, 400,000 people have not subscribed to this channel, but did to the other one. Some people don't even know those channels exist. My point is, Dylan Mulvaney with 10 million followers, that means they're unique individuals, maybe bots. They don't show up. How's that possible? We do an event in Austin. We sell out in 2 days. We do an event in Florida, and we were just about at capacity. We didn't sell that one out. Now, to be fair, I guess there's more than just me at these events, right? And so that may be a big factor, but we did an event in West Virginia and we basically sold out. How is it that I have a smaller following? Well, influence. That's really the question at play. Dylan Mulvaney has no influence. Dylan Mulvaney is a net negative influence. And of course, people have heard of Dylan Mulvaney because they keep putting this individual on magazines and trying to prop Dylan up. But as we can see here, Bud Light sales continue to drop. Here's the story that I think needs to be pointed out. Here's an individual who has algorithms saying, if you engage in a behavior we want, we will get you more views. That's it. I'm gonna pull Mr. Beast into this one. Don't get mad at me, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, why is he the biggest on YouTube? Because YouTube decided he was. End of story. That's it. That's really it. There are a lot of podcasts and channels on YouTube that aren't good. And you wonder why it is. I watch this one guy. I watch the other guy. How is this guy smaller? YouTube chooses. It's algorithmic. It's editorial. YouTube whitelists I believe that's been reported numerous times over the past several years. Certain content is a free pass into the algorithm. It then puts you on the front page. Here's the reality of how this media stuff works. If your channel is suggested on YouTube, people will watch it and you will make money. That's it. And that's why when it comes to Timcast IRL, people say, even though I watch every single episode every single night and I'm subscribed to all your channels, YouTube still does not show me your videos. In fact, some people say they even go to youtube.com/TimcastIRL and the live videos are not even there. Not even there when we're live. And so people have to try and find the URL, which is crazy. With that inverse pressure, we still manage to be the top spot every night, weekdays, on YouTube, live. Dylan Mulvaney, on the other hand, with 12 million followers, can't get people to show up to a room at a university. Now, listen, you might argue, well, Tim, your event, you're selling. Look, I'm selling tickets. It costs money. And people have to drive. We're talking about a college campus, which is supposed to be full of young people who are following Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan probably thought it was going to be a sold out room. Packed. No. The reality is this. I believe that most people who are following Dylan, it's algorithmic and they don't care. Look at the comments. You'll see the comments are all generic nonsense. Then you have people who are egging Dylan on. Get more surgery. Yeah, do it. Destroy yourself. That's what they're doing. When people cheer for someone who's destroying themselves, it's because they enjoy a carnival sideshow and they want to watch someone descend into misery. Here's the scary conspiracy. What if there actually are no followers? What if the reality is that Dylan Mulvaney is mostly followed by bots on TikTok and they're not real people? How many people are famous for being on TikTok? I'm honest question. I know there's people who are famous TikTokers. For sure, I've read about them in the news. But I wonder what degree of influence they truly have. Because I've met people who are like, I've got 200,000 followers on TikTok, and it translates to nothing. They get no comments, they make no money, and I'm like, I'm wondering how real this is. Now let's think about how scary this becomes. An individual who is driven to produce content and receives likes based on that content could be manipulated by bots. They could be talking to no one. So imagine this. Dylan Mulvaney signs up for TikTok, makes a video about animals. Some people watch. Dylan Mulvaney then makes a video about being trans. The machine, not humans, then gives an arbitrary fake number of comments that are generic, an arbitrary number of views. Dylan then sees the view count, goes, whoa, look how many people are watching me. I'm famous. But you never actually see any of these people. What if there aren't actually any people? And Dylan is being manipulated into body modification because a social media app is pretending it's popular. I believe there's a very strong possibility this is exactly what's happening. And I've asked myself the same question going back years. How do I know that any of the views on these videos are real views? How do I know the person watching this video, how do I know they're actually there? Well, it actually is quite simple. We track it with ad sales and we track it through personal encounters. Ad sales matters the most. We take a look at the average turnaround or a conversion for a view on other shows for other platforms compared to ours. And that means a human being bought a product and gave us money and we got their information. I take a look at how many members we have at timcast.com and how many people are buying Cast Brew Coffee. And we can see it's a lot of people, actually. Cast Brew Coffee is already tracking to crack 7 figures per year. That's right. We launched castbrewcoffee.com, support the show. And we're on track to generate over seven figures a year in revenue. That's not all profit, mind you. It's revenue. But it's big sales. And I'll keep it relatively vague because I don't want to call anybody out, but our partners in doing the basic business backend stuff, they asked when we started the company, and we were like April, and they're like, what? How could you be doing so well so quickly? Because I know that you are actually there watching this. And I know that my views on the world and what I read matters more to me than whether or not someone's going to like or dislike the video. And I think most of you know that based on the stances I've taken at odds with my own audience. It's fascinating when the left says Tim Pool's sabotaging his audience because, whatever. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Lie and say something I don't believe to get clicks? I ain't doing that. Dylan Mulvaney is doing that. And that's what is creating this nightmare scenario. But I really do wonder. I don't trust TikTok. I don't. I know people use it because I've seen the videos, but I don't believe their numbers are real. Much like Facebook, I don't believe it. I think YouTube's numbers are mostly real, but I know there's a lot of fake views there too. I don't believe it. And so what happens is a person can be backed into a corner with a computer screen telling them to destroy themselves, and they think it's the whole world when it's not. Welcome to the Nightmare Scenario. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.